Hunter Biden had an inside person at the DOJ allegedly warning him in his defense about possible investigations into storage facilities and other locations. Turns out that person, that inside person, that mole might be used, the phrase, is Lesley Wolf, the DOJ prosecutor and a major Obama donor. She is getting a subpoena courtesy of the Judiciary Committee and Jim Jordan as part of the investigation into the cover-up, into the Biden crime family cover-up and the criminality. And so we're going to go through the full subpoena. We're also going to see what James Comer says about his investigation into the Biden crime family, the current status of that. But before we do, who is Lesley Wolf? Who is this person who is responsible for being involved in the Biden crime family investigation for many, many years? This is the story that comes to us from heavy.com. 5 facts that you need to know about Lesley Wolf. Written October 17, 2023 by Jessica McBride. Great story here. And this tells us that she's an assistant U.S. attorney who featured prominently in testimony, and we've covered a lot of it here. Comments about Wolf came from testimony from the whistleblowers Gary Shapley and others. But if you look in her background, campaign finance records show that Wolf and her husband are Democrat campaign donors. FEC commission records show that her husband donated to Obama 14 times, and Lesley donated to Act Blue, a Democrat fundraising operation. Her donation was earmarked for Amy Klobuchar. Lesley Wolf, according to Open Secrets, also donated to Josh Shapiro, Democratic governor of Pennsylvania, and also worked for a corona coordinator in the U.S. DOJ. She previously clerked for a federal judge for George H.W. Bush. She's 48, also mentioned in separate testimony from a second IRS whistleblower. They described the other whistleblower as the U.S. attorney in Delaware. According to her Pennsylvania law license, her name is Lesley Frieder Wolf. She's assigned to the DOJ, admitted to practice law Pennsylvania 2006. Husband is a physician, is a psychiatric professor, and they have a wedding announcement in the New York Times. The whistleblower, according to Shapley, he said, "I'm blowing the whistle that the Delaware U.S. Attorney's Office, the DOJ, and the Department of Tax provided preferential treatment to the president's son. Full transcripts were released, but here's what you need to know. A wedding announcement says that Lesley and her husband, they were studying neuroscience when they met." So sounds like a sharp dude. So more about this. They are Democrat donors. So here is a dono from Lesley Wolf, U.S. Department of Justice year to date, earmarked for Amy Klobuchar. Right there is the dono. 2022, she made a dono to Josh Shapiro, and her husband donated to Obama 14 times. $1,175 in different increments. $100, $200, $100, $100, $100. Obama for America, 2012, 2008, both campaign cycles. 25, 25, probably recurring thing. And then as the election nears, he bumped it up to $100 and then to $200 later. Now, according to the FEC records, Lesley donated $50 to Amy Klobuchar, and $100 is this one. And here's another one. In 2019, she sent some money into Gifford's PAC, which I believe is another Democrat there. Daniel Wolf in 2017 and 16, they each donated money to Americans for Responsible Solutions, and Daniel Wolf gave some other money to another organization. Also, according to Influence Watch, Gifford's, yeah, the Gifford's PAC, to elect supporters, that's here in Arizona, of gun control to public office, right? Gun control. We also have this. Lesley Wolf is accused of telling investigators that optics were a driving factor in whether to search Joe Biden's guest house, and she's accused of tipping off Hunter's lawyer about a pending storage unit search. And Shapley has a lot of testimony. She prosecuted fraud cases in Delaware, so she's also been somebody who's been in Delaware. And so a nice Democrat says Lesley Wolf clerked for a judge who was appointed by a HW. So not that she was appointed by HW, but she worked for a judge that was appointed by HW. She's a donor to Columbia Law School, and that's her background. Okay, now that we know a little bit more about her, she is now getting a subpoena, and this is what the Judiciary Committee sent over to her, and coming from the Judiciary Committee, our friend Jim Jordan, who is leading the charge here. You see Jim Jordan from Ohio sends this letter on November 21st to Miss Lesley Wolf, and it's going to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware. So this is fun. They say, "Dear Miss Wolf, the Committee on the Judiciary, Jim Jordan, is conducting oversight of the executive branch and your commitment to so-called impartial justice. We're also investigating the veracity of statements that were made in response to congressional inquiries related to the DOJ's investigation of Hunty. Our committee is also investigating whether sufficient grounds exist to draft articles of impeachment against President Biden for consideration by the full House. Along with the House Ways and Means Committee, Jason Smith, and Oversight Committee, James Comer, we set forth memorandum of evidence justifying justifying the scope of an impeachment investigation. Now, as part of our investigation, our committee has determined that we require your testimony because you have firsthand knowledge of the department's criminal inquiry of Hunter. In light of the department's refusal to make you available, we tried to go through the DOJ and your bosses, but they are not making you available. We asked for a voluntary transcribed interview. We have no choice now but to compel your testimony at a deposition. So get ready. On June 29th, the committee, along with the Ways and Means Committee, sent a letter to Merrick Garland asking that he allow several DOJ officials, including you, Lesley, to sit for a transcribed interview. Here is what we sent. The department did not comply with our request. July 21st, we reiterated our request, and again, the DOJ did not comply. Shocking. After additional communications and attempts by our committee, Congress is trying to be a friendly entity here, the department finally made 6 employees available for these transcribed interviews, although there were substantial scope limitations. So they did talk to some people, but our request for your testimony, Lesley, remains outstanding. And there's a big question mark on that one. Why did those 6 employees, why were they okay, but Lesley's is not? Is it ongoing investigation? Nonsense? Now, based on the committee's investigation to date, Congress says it is clear that you, Lesley, possess specialized and unique information that is unavailable to the committee through other sources and without which our inquiry would be incomplete. They say witness testimony and public reporting indicates that as the Assistant U.S. Attorney for the District of Delaware, Lesley, you were directly involved in that office's investigation of Hunter Biden, which deviated from standard investigative procedures. Why? For example, among other things, according to whistleblower testimony, Lesley, you attended a substantial majority, if not all, of the prosecution team meetings concerning Hunter. Information that's available to the committee tells us that you, either directly or by instructing others, are responsible for many of the decisions to deviate from standard investigative protocol during the investigation of Hunter, including, apparently, Lesley, you told defense counsel about a potential search warrant for Hunter's abandoned storage unit, and then you later objected to executing the search warrant on the storage unit. And that comes from Gary Shapley and also from Joseph Ziegler, literal special agents at the IRS, 2 of them. They both said it. 2 of them corroborated. Why did you do that, Lesley? You also prohibited investigators from asking witnesses about the big guy, or quote, dad, presumably referring to President Biden. That came from Shapley's interview as well. How come, Lesley? You also ordered investigators to remove from a search warrant any reference to quote, political figure 1, which is President Biden. Don't talk about him in your criminal documents. Get him out of there. You also prohibited investigators from following up on evidence of criminal campaign finance violations. Why did you limit their scope? You also forbid investigators from interviewing Hunter's adult children. So Lesley, according to witness testimony, you obstructed, we're getting into maybe some criminal territory here. You obstructed the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Pennsylvania from briefing the District of Delaware about information from a highly credible confidential human source about bribes that were allegedly paid to President Biden and to Hunter. How come you did that, Les? Now, the former U.S. Attorney for Pennsylvania, he testified that you served as the primary interface for your office to receive information about the Biden family bribery allegations. So she's the choke point. He explained, and I don't know who this person is. This is a new player enters the game. The U.S. Attorney Office from Pennsylvania. He must have been one of these people that was allowed to be interviewed. He explained that the information sharing between the 2 offices became so constricted that we had to provide written questions to the investigative team in Delaware, almost in the form of interrogatories, and then we receive answers back. Wild. So, in other words, she's the choke point, right? Everything comes over. She says, let me ask them, like, okay, what do you guys need? Okay, write me the list of questions. Nope, that's not, you're not getting that. Nope, not getting that. Nope, not getting that. Okay, they can answer these. Gross. You also attended a briefing in October 2020, where the election is happening, about the bribery allegations after the Associate Deputy Attorney General, Richard Donahue, ordered your office to receive the briefing. Now they say, all right, Les, these facts, as well as others, are laid out in more detail in our impeachment inquiry memorandum, which we're sure you read. And given your central role in the DOJ's investigation of Hunter, you are uniquely situated to advance not only our oversight and our potential legislative reforms, but also to fill out our impeachment inquiry. Now, we've sought repeatedly to obtain the DOJ's voluntary compliance with our request for a transcribed interview with you, and we've engaged in good faith with the department about the purported reasons why it could not comply. apply. And that's our question. How come? Although the department has allowed other employees involved in the Hunter investigation to testify, albeit with substantial scoping limitations, the department has not agreed to make you available voluntarily at all, which is their mistake. Now they're going to get a subpoena. The department's reasons for not allowing you to provide testimony are unpersuasive. Without specifically referencing you, Lesley, they have generally claimed in correspondence that it's a long-standing policy to not make non-Senate confirmed and line-level DOJ employees available. So she's just not available because she's too low. Now, as we've repeatedly informed the department, this claim is actually factually, legally, and historically inaccurate. Footnote 22. They said, no, we sent you a letter on this. We've already explained. We interview these people all the time. Congressional committees have regularly received testimony from non-Senate confirmed and line-level Justice Department employees. The nonpartisan Congressional Research Service, after examining 90 years of precedent, concluded that investigating committees have often obtained testimony of subordinate DOJ employees like line attorneys and FBI field agents, both formally and informally, on specific matters of DOJ operations. Sorry, guys, here's the document. Happens all the time. Indeed, the committee has conducted interviews with line-level and other non-Senate confirmed department employees of oversight before, and we seek the same thing from you now. And further, our committee also requests and rejects the department's amorphous assertion that, quote, an ongoing investigation prohibits Congress from exercising its constitutional oversight obligations. As the department well knows, there is no, quote, ongoing investigation privilege codified in statutes or recognized by the courts. Your claim rests on no constitutional privilege or case law authority, but solely on opinions issued unilaterally by the DOJ, right? The DOJ writes their own memo and then they reference their memo. They're like, oh, sorry, it's the policy. We know it's your policy though, but even I am not above the policy. Says in fact, there is ample legal and historical precedent that's even contradicting the department's assertion. That is, precedent of congressional committees conducting oversight of matters that are subjects of ongoing investigations. The historical record is replete with examples of DOJ providing information related to ongoing criminal investigations to congressional committees. Do it all the time, including the exact type of information that the committee is looking for in this investigation. The suggestion that the department may somehow dictate the nature of our oversight because of this never-ending, ongoing, continuing nature of an ongoing law enforcement investigation lacks any valid legal basis, and the committee does not accept it as legitimate or any reason to obstruct or otherwise to delay our efforts. Jordan continues. He says the Supreme Court has recognized that Congress has a, quote, broad and indispensable power to conduct oversight, and pursuant to our power, that's what we're doing. We're considering reforming the special attorney statute, codifying special counsel regulations, and reforming the tax division. They say we also, according to the Supreme Court, may seek information about the executive branch where there's corruption, maladministration, inefficiency in the agencies in the government. And here, whistleblowers, Lesley, have brought forward numerous allegations of corruption. For example, presidential treatment of the president's son, maladministration, retaliation against the whistleblowers, inefficiency, things like an investigation being so bogged down by delays and micromanagement that statutes of limitations have lapsed before prosecutors could even file the charges. All of this backed by contemporaneous documentary and testimonial evidence. These are among the matters about which the committee requires testimony. And so, finally, as part of the impeachment inquiry, the committee is investigating whether Biden abused his power as president to impede, to obstruct, or to otherwise hinder the investigations, including our congressional investigations or the prosecution of Hunter. Now, Lesley, given your critical role played in the investigation of Hunter, you are uniquely situated to shed light on whether President Biden played any role in the DOJ investigation or whether he attempted in any way to directly or indirectly obstruct either the investigation, our investigation, whether he interfered with the DOJ, the Department of Tax, or anyone, or whether he's interfering now. And so, Lesley, accordingly, for all these reasons, and in light of the department's non-compliance with our earlier voluntary requests, please find attached a subpoena compelling your appearance at a deposition. Ooh, that feels good. We've been waiting for that one, man. Lesley Wolf has been in this show for a lot of episodes and a lot of time. And this comes from Jim Jordan. Sincerely, your friend. We'll see you at the depot. Jim Jordan. That is over from Congress of the United States, the Committee on the Judiciary, signed by Jim Jordan. And that's going to be fun to see what they do in response to that. But we've got James Comer, who has been at the forefront of the Biden crime family inquiries for quite some time, is here. And he's got something to share about the investigation because he's on the Oversight Committee, and the Oversight Committee is leading the charge along with the House Ways and Means Committee. All right, here it is. James Comer.
Welcome back. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan sending a subpoena to Hunter Biden prosecutor Lesley Wolf. Wolf, who was ordered to appear before the committee on December 7th, is accused of trying to shield President Biden from certain questions and search warrants related to the Hunter Biden investigation. This just days after the White House vowed to fight all subpoenas of the Biden family members. Special counsel to the president sent a letter to Republicans accusing them of misrepresenting the facts and urging them to withdraw all subpoenas and requests for testimony. Joining me right now is Kentucky Congressman, Chairman of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer. Mr. Chairman, thanks very much for being here this morning.
Good morning.
So you heard what the White House wants. They want you to withdraw all of these subpoenas, stop asking any family members to testify publicly or under oath. Your response?
Well, no one's misrepresented the facts more than the White House, more than Joe Biden. I mean, if you look at this investigation from the very beginning, all the narratives pre-investigation have been proven to be false. We found that the Bidens had 20 shell companies. We found that 10 Biden family members have received funds from foreign nationals all over the world. We've proven that the Bidens have received over $25 million from these foreign nationals, and they can't explain one single thing they did to earn the money. We've proven over and over again that Joe Biden hasn't been truthful with the American people. Because of our credible, substantive investigation focused mainly on bank records, and remember, bank records don't lie, Maria, as you know, we now are in the deposition phase. We have specific questions for Biden family members and people associated with the Biden family members about specific transactions. We want to know what these companies were and what the Bidens did to receive the millions and millions of dollars from our enemies around the world. So the White House shouldn't be surprised that we've reached the point now to where we want to bring these people in and interview and or depose them about specific questions about very suspicious and shady bank transactions.
So do you have any expectation that the White House is going to stop these testimonies? I mean, James Biden, the president's brother, is expected to testify before your committee in 2 weeks on December 6th. Hunter Biden is expected to testify a week later on December 13th. Do you think these are going to happen?
Well, if I were one of the Bidens, I would want to come defend my good name. I mean, every time I brought something out, Maria, many times on your show, the White House has attacked me and claimed that I misrepresented the facts. Well, now here's their opportunity to set the record straight. We have their bank records. They know we have their bank records. They know we have email correspondence. They know the laptop was real, despite the fact that they worked with the intelligence community to say it was Russian disinformation to peddle a false media narrative. They know everything that we have, and they can probably guess 95% of the questions that we're going to ask. So this shouldn't be a very difficult thing for the Bidens to come in and tell the truth.
Yeah.
And I expect them to come. And I can tell you, Maria, after speaking with Speaker Johnson last week, both Jim Jordan and I have confidence that if anyone does not obey our subpoenas, that Congress will then react to hold these people accountable.
Good.
This investigation has been very transparent from day one.
Yeah.
We've told people we were going to follow the money. The whole purpose of the investigation was to determine whether or not Joe Biden had lied to the American people. We know the answer to that. He has many times. The second purpose is to determine whether or not our president is compromised by our enemies around the world because of the millions of dollars his family's received.
All right, so we can see that this is the current status, and I like it. I think that it's very nice that James Comer is saying we're going to have some repercussions if they don't show up. Now, will they show up? I think the smart play for them would be to show up and to try to play ball and to try to limit it and to say, oh, we had a great depo, nothing came out of it. But I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. And if they don't show up, we'll see if Congress holds them in contempt or where it goes from here. But my friends, we will be here continuing to cover it, and I hope you join us as we do. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for checking out robertgovea.com to sign up for our daily newsletter. If you want to access the mind map, you can do it there. You can also access all the PDFs. Everything we go through is at robertgovea.com. So if you want to catch the red lines or share a segment with a friend or family member, we'd love to see you there and here on the next one.